I'm Jolene Wynn, and this is the Porn Addict's Wife Podcast, episode number 171, When Should I Leave? I used to think of myself as the wife of a porn addict, but I do not think of myself that way anymore, and you don't have to either. In this podcast, I am going to teach you how to manage your mind and your emotions so that you can stop living your life around your husband's pornography addiction. I am going to teach you how to stop being the victim and how to conquer his pornography addiction, even if he never does. I'm Jolene Wynn. I am a certified life coach, and I am a member of the LDS faith and the wife of a former porn addict. And this is a podcast for the porn addict's wife. Hello, my ladies. Good morning. I hope you guys had a great weekend. I had the best weekend. I had a wonderful birthday. Yesterday was my birthday, and I got to spend it with my twin sister, which is all I ever really want to do. Everyone always asks me, what do you want to do for your birthday? Do you guys have lots of fun traditions? We're very chill about birthdays at my house, and really the only thing that I want to do is just be with her, because there have been a couple of birthdays that we did not get to spend together, and it was lame. And I think just because I was so used to always having her on my birthday. And there were a couple of years where Rob was in dental school and her husband was, in professional school, and we lived in separate states, and it just didn't happen the way that I wanted it to, and that was a bummer. So spending it with my sister was great. We went out to dinner the night before with some friends, and we had cake. I got sung to multiple times, 4 times. I got sung to at dinner the night before. I got sung to at church. I'm in charge of, I help out with the little kids. So all the kids 12 and under, the primary kids, I help. That's what I do in our church. And so they all sang to me on Sunday. And then I got sung to twice by my family because we had 2 cakes. We had 2 cakes and brownies. Like, you guys, it was a great birthday. And I'm so happy. And for my birthday, I got to take all of my kids to a Christian concert the week before. And that's exactly what I wanted to do. So it was amazing. I hope you guys, thanks for all the birthday wishes. I got so many messages from all y'all, emails and messages on Instagram, and I'm so grateful. Thank you guys so much for all the birthday wishes. You guys are amazing. And I had the best birthday. So thanks for being a part of it. I wanted to let you guys know that I am doing a Coach Week next week. So for those of you who don't know what Coach Week is, this is where you can come try coaching for free. This is going to be next Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. I will get the dates. Let me look at my calendar right now so you guys know when it is. Okay, so it's August 28th through the 30th. Okay, I'm going to be doing these calls at 11 a.m. Eastern. Okay, and these are completely free. So all you have to do is go to my website, jolenewynn.com. You can go to the Coach Week tab. It'll be up later today, and you'll be able to register for free. And then that way you can get the Zoom link. And I will email you the Zoom link, or you will have access to the Zoom link so that you have it, so that you can join these calls. And this is your chance not only to just try out coaching and see what it's like. You can come anonymously. You can come just watch other people get coached. You don't have to get coached if you don't want to. But this is your chance to bring me what you're struggling with. For those of you who've been listening to the podcast for a while, or even if you're brand new, then whatever it is that comes up for you when you listen to these episodes, write them down and bring them to these calls. This is your chance to work with me. I'm the one hosting these calls, and I can help you see what coaching is like, and also give you the personal help that you're looking for. So I encourage you to sign up and come live, because this is your chance to work with me so that I can help you work through whatever it is that you're struggling with. And once again, it's totally free. So again, it'll be up later today. You'll be able to register for that. Go to jolenewynn.com, go to the Coach Week tab, and you'll be able to see all the details and register. And even if you can't come live, then I would still encourage you to register, because you'll have access to the recordings. So I just wanted to let you guys know that that's happening. So please come spend next week with me. I would love to meet you, and I would love to help you work through whatever it is that you're going through right now. Okay? All right, let's dive in to today's topic. Hello, my ladies. How are you? I am so excited to be talking to you guys today. I wanted to bring this up today as a topic because it came up in a coaching call last week with one of my clients. This is something that I have faced many times. I have had many clients that have had this question. And so I wanted to address it here on the podcast, which is, how do I know when I should stay and when I should go? She said, when is enough enough? When do I stop putting up with this? How do I know when I should be taking action to leave, whether that's separating or divorce or whatever that looks like for you. Now, here in this podcast, I'm going to address a couple of things. And the number one thing that I want to address is there is no right or wrong answer here. There is no objective metric or scale that exists. There is no book, or you can't Google it and it'll tell you, oh, it should be this many days after he relapses, or after this many times that he relapses, or you should separate if he's watching this kind of content, but you should get divorced if he's watching this kind of content, or if he has an affair. It is completely individual, and each one of you is going to have a different answer. Some women stay with their husbands even if he's had an affair, and some women choose to leave the minute that they find out that he's been watching pornography at all. Okay, so there is nothing that I can tell you that says, okay, here's the exact way and formula to figure out the answer to this question. It is going to be individual. Okay, so know that first of all, you are the only one that knows the answer to this question. I don't even know the answer to this question. That's what I told my client. I said, I don't know the answer to this question, but you do, and I can help you figure it out, and we can figure out what your answer is. Like, what's your initial gut response? Do I want to stay? Yes or no? Why? And do I like my reasons? And that's really the coaching part of that. Okay. The coaching part is figuring out, okay, what are the reasons why I want to stay or go? And am I okay with those reasons? Yes or no? Okay. Does that make sense? So that's what I want to talk about today, but I just wanted to start off with that so that you guys know just off the bat that there is no secret answer and there is no secret formula. Okay. Now, what's fascinating is the very next thing that she said after we talked about this is she said, well, what I don't want to do is she said, I feel like staying is enabling his behavior. Okay. She said, I feel like I want to leave. And I said, why? And she said, because I feel like if I go, then maybe that'll be the thing that wakes him up. And that is a really romantic idea that we have. It's a really beautiful thought. And I've had many, many clients that have thought this. Maybe if I just do X, Y, or Z, it'll be the thing that wakes him up. Maybe if I leave, then he'll realize how much he loves me and he'll change his ways. Maybe if I leave, if I separate, if I take the kids and I move to my mom's, maybe then he'll hit his rock bottom. Okay, now I want you guys to notice that this is a very sneaky way that your brain is keeping your actions tethered to his behavior. In a very sneaky way, it is keeping you tethered to him. You are in a very subconscious manner taking responsibility for his behavior. He is a grown adult. You cannot take responsibility for his behavior. This is your subconscious brain operating in a way that's trying to control your circumstances in order to try to make yourself feel better, because you don't like how you feel when he relapses, when he watches pornography, when he does the behavior that you don't like. You don't like how you feel, and you shouldn't. It's not lovely, and that's okay. But this is just your brain saying, okay, the way that we avoid this, in the future, all of these emotions, is we try to control the situation. Okay, what can we do? Well, in reality, you can't do anything to change his behavior, but your brain really doesn't like that answer. And so it just tries to come up with all these sneaky ways to try and change what he's doing. Okay, it comes out in maybe if I put out more, maybe if I buy more lingerie, maybe if I lose weight, maybe if I know what he's watching and I try to become what I think he wants, then he'll stop, right? And we try to change it in our own way. This is just another one of those ways. If by thinking the thought, okay, maybe if I leave, maybe if I separate, maybe if I walk out the door, maybe that'll be the thing that wakes him up. And if it is, that would be lovely. But you leaving is a circumstance, meaning it is not the thing that's going to force his behavior to change. If that worked, ladies, I would be all for it. I would just get on this podcast and I would say, ladies, here's the secret. The secret is all you got to do is leave. And as soon as you leave, that'll be the thing that makes your husband realize how much you mean to him, how much this is a problem in his life. That's what's gonna, force him to get therapy and the help that he needs to overcome this. And then you can move back in and your life will be happily ever after. That doesn't work. Do you want to know why? Because you are not in control of his behavior. He is. His thoughts are what creates his feelings. His feelings are what drive his actions. And his actions are what creates the results in his life. So you leaving maybe sparks a new thought that he has that then produces a new emotion, that then inspires a new action, that then starts to change the result in his life. But you can't take credit for that. It is not your fault. It is not your responsibility, and it is not to your credit if he changes his behavior. You have to learn how to separate yourself and what you do from him and what he's doing. Now this, again, my client has been coaching with me for a few months now, and she's done so much work in so many ways, and I'm so proud of her. But this was a very sneaky thought that she didn't even know she was having. I know so many of you have it. It shows up in so many ways because it also shows in the reverse, right? Her first thought was, well, I think I should leave so that he changes his behavior. And then on the reverse side of that thought is, but if I stay, that means I'm enabling his behavior. Do you see that? She's also taking responsibility for staying. She's taking responsibility, thinking that if she stays with him, if she continues to stay married and have the relationship continue the way that it is, then that's somehow her acquiescing to his behavior, giving him permission to continue doing what he's doing. No, ladies, that is not true. Okay. And I know it's really clear to see for other people. It's really clear to see it when I say it's this other client and you're like, well, of course, that's not her fault. She can't take the blame for what he's doing. And yet a lot of you are doing this, having this sneaky thought. So check in with yourself. Does that feel true? Don't try to logic your way out of it. Don't try to convince yourself out of it because your brain will. You'll say, okay, no, that's ridiculous. Why on earth would I think that? I want you to just check in with yourself. Does this resonate emotionally with you? This idea that you staying, you being in the relationship and continuing to work on it and to work on yourself is somehow enabling his behavior or saying that it's okay or that giving him permission to look at whatever he wants. That is not what you're doing. Again, you are not responsible for his choices. He is a grown adult and you have to learn how to let go of the connection that your brain has between you and your behavior and him and his behavior. You don't have to. I know I just said you need to. It's not actually true. You don't need to. But what I want to offer is that you can. And when you learn how to do that, that's when it opens up the space for him to be completely responsible for his own choices and you to be completely responsible for yours. This is when you get to start focusing on yourself. This is when you really start to take control and move forward because you start focusing on the things that you can control rather than on the things that you can't. Now, again, your brain doesn't know the difference. Your brain thinks that if we just try hard enough and do the exact right things, then somehow it'll change. I know there are probably some of you even listening that are like, no, Jolene, I don't know. I think if I just found out exactly what he was watching, or if I figured out the magic formula for my husband. I know my husband better than you do. Jolene doesn't know my husband. My husband's different. I know there are so many people that I just know that maybe if I gave him an ultimatum, I've had many clients do this, many women I've talked to and coached on coaching calls. Well, I think if I just give him an ultimatum, I want to give him an ultimatum because I think that if I did, then that would be the thing. He would realize how serious I am. And if he realizes how serious I am, then that's going to be the thing that changes it. Ladies, I promise he knows how serious you are. I promise he knows how much you hate this. I promise he knows how much pain you're in, even if he doesn't understand it. One of the biggest lies that we believe is that he must not understand how much pain we are in because if he did, then he would stop watching porn. It's a big lie. Do you want to know why? Because you are not the reason he's watching it. You being in pain can't stop him from watching it because it's not you not being in pain that's making him watch it. He's like, oh, my wife is in a great mood. Great, I'm going to go watch porn. Oh, so she is in pain? Oh, well, then I'm not going to. You are not the reason he's watching it, so you can't be the reason he stops. We have to let go of that romantic idea that we are somehow like the linchpin. We are somehow the, missing piece in the formula that's going to make him change. We have to let go of wanting to change him and start redirecting our brain to focus on ourselves. Our brain doesn't like that. Our brain would rather try and change all the circumstances before it starts to look inward. But it's exhausting when you do that, because you're actually trying to change things you have no control over. That's what leads us into an exhaustion, emotionally, physically, mentally, all the ways, because we're trying to do something that cannot be done. It is so much easier. It's a lot harder work because your brain wants to do it. It's got to be conscious work. It takes conscious effort and conscious work, but it is absolutely possible to redirect your brain to what you can control. That's when you start seeing permanent shifts. That's when you start seeing progress where you felt like before you were just going in circles. Now, continuing on with this question of, okay, well, at what point do I leave? Kind of goes into the depth of it. How far do I allow it? That was the question that my client gave. Now, again, I want you to be careful with this because it's not you allowing anything. Okay, you are not giving him permission, but he might make some decisions. Now, again, it goes, my client said, when is enough enough? That's entirely up to you. The truth is, ladies, you get to decide that. You are the one that gets to decide when is enough enough. When do I say no? When do I say I'm done with this? That's entirely up to you. I always give this example just because it's so clear to me. I usually give it in terms of boundaries. And you can go back and listen. A very long time ago in the early episodes, I think it's in the first 20 episodes, I did an episode called Boundaries versus Consequences. And it goes very much in line with this. So you can go listen to that. But I had a client, one of my first clients, and she said, you know what? I feel like if he relapses, she had a lot of anxiety about him relapsing again. That's what she came with. I'm having so much anxiety about what he's doing and when he's on the computer and when he's on his phone. And we figured out it was because she's really anxious about him relapsing. And then we dove a little bit deeper and we figured out it was because she had this thought that the next time he relapsed, she was like, I feel like I should leave him. I feel like we should separate. And I was like, okay, why do you feel that way? She's like, I just feel like my mom and all of these reasons, and he's been doing this for so long and blah, blah, blah. And I said, okay, well, do you want to separate? And she said, no, I really don't. I said, well, then you don't have to. Boom, there it is. Okay. There is no magic answer. Even if your mom thinks you should separate, or your pastor, or your bishop, or your best friend, or his best friend, or his mom. I don't care who tells you that they think you should separate or get divorced. It's entirely up to you. Or who tells you that you shouldn't. Because we'll also add a lot of judgment. Well, it's not as bad as other women. At least he's not cheating on me. Or he only did it for this reason. Or maybe his addiction isn't as bad as other women. I shouldn't be feeling this way. All of that is just judgment. Let it all go. You don't need the judgment. There is no true answer to when is enough enough, or how much do I allow, or how far does this go before I say I'm done. That is an internal question that nobody else can answer. I don't even answer it for my questions because I don't know, or for my clients because I don't know the right answer for them. Only they do. I can help them figure it out. I can help them work through all of those things. And that's what I want to offer for you guys is when you're answering this question for yourself, then I want you to be really clear on your reasons. Okay, so ask yourself, okay, do I want to stay? Yes or no? If the answer is no, then I want you to determine, okay, what does that look like? Do I want to get divorced? Do I want to separate? I've had clients that have done both. Okay, do I want to stay? Okay, yes. Do I want it to look the same, or do I want to set up boundaries so that it looks different? Right? You get to determine this, but I want you to understand why. That should always be the next question. Okay, do I want to stay? Yes or no? Okay, let's say no or yes, either one. Why? And a lot of times it's going to be emotional. I don't want to be on my own. I'm scared of being alone. I feel like if I went on my own, that just sounds so scary because I would be all by myself. How would I support myself? How would I talk to the kids about this? How would I even bring this up to my family? They don't even know that he's struggling. All of the things, all of the reasons. And I want you to write them down. And those reasons are totally valid, but you have to be the one that lives with them. And I guarantee you, when you actually dive into each one of those thoughts, I don't know how I would do this on my own. I don't know how I would, I'd have to start dating again. I don't know how to support myself. All of that comes down to an emotion. Everything that we do or don't do is because of how we feel or how we think we would feel if we did it. We end up staying because we are too scared, too fearful of leaving. Or maybe we leave because we're too fearful of staying. Now that's completely fine. I just want you to recognize the reason and the emotion behind it before you make the decision. There's a very big difference, ladies, between sitting and allowing an emotion, processing it and accepting it, and then making a decision logically versus making a decision and acting from the emotion. You guys know the difference? Acting from the emotion is when we tend to react to what we are feeling, and that doesn't typically lead us to make decisions that are the best for us long term, or the ones that we want long term. This is when we react, we are doing so in a manner where our brain is trying to get out of the emotion as quickly as possible. So if you're feeling a lot of fear and anxiety, then your brain is trying to find a solution to that and looking for immediate relief. Okay, your brain does not want to stay in that negative emotion, and it's trying to find a way out of it as fast as possible. Now, in a do or die situation, that's wonderful. I'm very glad that our brain is wired to operate this way. But when you're trying to make a decision long term for yourself that has repercussions not only for you, but for your spouse and for your kids and future generations, then it's not the best decision-making paradigm. Okay, this is why we have a prefrontal cortex. This is why we have our adult brain that is wired and learned how to make decisions that are not just based off of emotion. The problem is that when we are in a marriage like this, when we are in a relationship that has all of this emotional baggage, we tend to make decisions based on that emotion. And when you haven't learned how to be in charge of your brain, then that is what tends to lead to all the decisions. We tend to avoid anxiety. We tend to react to our anger, and we yell, and we take all of the emotion that we've pent up over the years, and it just tends to it tends to multiply is the word I'm looking for. It tends to multiply, and then it very much affects our decision-making paradigm. Okay. So if you are trying to make this decision, then I want to encourage you to get to a clean emotional place first. What that means is working through all of those reasons. Okay. If you're like, all right, do I want to stay or do I want to go? Okay. What is my reason? Yes or no? And why? And let's work through all of the whys first, and then if at the end that decision is still the same, great. But what I have seen happen so often to so many women who have not worked with me is they tend to make decisions just to try and get out of how they're feeling. I feel unsafe. I feel vulnerable. I feel frustrated. I feel anxious. I feel pain, and I'm tired. I'm tired of feeling this way. Moving your circumstances is never going to change your internal emotional baggage, okay? It might work for just a minute. It might give you a breath, but this is why it's called emotional baggage. Bags of emotion that you're carrying from your past and bringing with you. Anything that you are working through emotionally, anything that you have felt emotionally in this relationship will not be solved simply by leaving the relationship. And I think that so many women think that that's the answer. I feel all of these, and this is why, is because we think that the way that we feel is because of what he's doing. Ergo, if we get out of the situation where he's doing what he's doing, then I don't have to feel all of this, and that would be better, right? Not necessarily, because his behavior is not creating how you feel. Your thoughts are, and your thoughts are going to come with you whether you stay in the relationship or whether you leave. So leaving the relationship is not a cure-all for the emotions that you're feeling. You have to take a look inward. If you really want to work through this, if you really want to overcome those and leave them behind and have freedom from all of the baggage that you have to look inward. It is not a solution that comes from changing the status of your marriage on your Facebook account. Okay, and I know that's a trivial way to say it, but that's really what I'm saying is like the circumstance, leaving the relationship doesn't solve your internal pain. Why? Because it's not the thing that created it. Best news ever. Your thoughts are what's creating your feelings. And I'm so grateful that this is true, ladies. This is the best news I could give you because it means that he is no longer in charge or responsible for how you're feeling. You get to do it. And you're going to be way better at it than he is. He's terrible at all the things, ladies. He's so bad. Bless his heart. Okay, he's so bad. And he's so bad at it himself. Thank goodness he's not the one that's in charge of you. You get to do it, and you're going to do it better, and you're going to do it faster, and you're going to do it way more efficiently, and it'll be cleaner, and it'll be all the ways better for you to do it because you know yourself better than he does anyway. And if you want me to help you, I will help you do it, but you are the one that's in charge of your emotional state, and it's not going to be fixed by leaving. So if that's what's coming up for you, if subconsciously your brain somehow thinks that maybe if I leave, that'll be better. Maybe it'll somehow make all of this feelings of being unsafe and feeling vulnerable and feeling anxious and frustrated. If it would make all of those go away, I would be all for it. But that's not the point, ladies. The point in life is not to avoid half of it. The point is to have the whole experience. And if you learn how to process all that emotion and let it go, then you will be able to do so in a way that doesn't mean you have to change your circumstances, but you can if you choose to. And I'm all for it. If you want to, that is your decision. But it's very different to make that decision coming from a place where it is on purpose and is a conscious choice versus a reaction trying to simply survive and get to the next day where you think that you have to because you can't take it anymore. I promise you that's not true. And if you feel like that's where you are, if you feel like you can't take one more day of this, then I want to encourage you to sign up today and come coach with me so that I can teach you how to process your emotions so that you can see that that's not true. All right, ladies. If you need help answering this question, take a look inward, answer those questions that I gave you, and I promise you, you can figure it out. You are the one that's responsible for yourself. You're not responsible for him. Start separating that in your brain, and you're going to start seeing so much progress. I love you, ladies, so much. I hope you have a great week, and I'll see you next week. So take care. All right, ladies, it's time to rise up and take charge of your healing, and I have the best way for you to do it. I have created a lifetime access coaching program that I have designed specifically for you and exactly what you're going through right now. This is where I help you develop a personal mastery of all the tools that you're learning here on the podcast in order for you to create a permanent change. Go to my website, jolenewind.com. You will find all the information there, and you can sign up today. And we will start going forward. I can't wait to see you there.